The recent increase in the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies has started all sorts of conversations about what it means for a thing to have value. One comment I saw on Facebook went something like this: "The value of goods are completely perceptual, however, human perceptions are often wrong. But if something is completely perceptual, how can perceptions about it be wrong? Visual illusions are a perfect example of this. Do you see any motion in this image? Maybe it won't surprise you that it is totally stationary. Despite the objective lack of motion, the human eye will almost invariably see this image wiggling around." But what does that mean, objective lack of motion? As far as we know, everything moves. From the tiniest atoms and specks of dust to much larger things like galaxies and the fabric of reality itself, motion is everywhere. So in a sense, isn't the trick of perception that we see in this illusion as a moving image more accurate than our rational conception of a stationary image? More to the point, the perception of an objective external reality is less straightforward than we might intuitively think. As I talked about in my video on objectivity and subjectivity, even science doesn't rest on the principle of a verifiable objective reality. Instead, it works through the convergence of evidence, essentially an abstract conceptual web created from the average of many independent subjectivities. Its consistency across perspectives is more important than its truthfulness. Fascinatingly, a theory called the interface or simulation theory suggests that perception in general is simply not designed to be truthful. Accurate perception, or the alignment of our subjective experience with an objective, independent reality, is likely punished to extinction by natural selection. In other words, we have evolved to purposefully see reality in a distorted way. This makes quite a bit of sense if you think about it. Having an awareness of where you are compared to your food source is much more important to survive as a living organism with solid boundaries, instead of having a deep knowledge of yourself as an infinitely connected extension of the universe as a whole. One of the creators of this theory, Dr. Donald Hoffman, explains that our perceptions are intentionally illusory, in the same way that the icons on a computer desktop are meant to hide the complexity of the programming languages, the binary code, and the physical hardware all required to make the computer run. You don't need to know about any of these things in order to properly use a computer.
So the idea is that evolution has given us an interface that hides reality and guides adaptive behavior. Space and time, as you perceive them right now, are your desktop. Physical objects are simply icons in that desktop.
Having a true awareness of the underlying fabric of reality would completely prevent us from behaving in a way that promotes our survival as individuals. There is a hilarious irony to be noted here. If human perception is not accurate, then our conclusions about the accuracy of perception are not to be trusted as accurate. The point is that objective reality does not seem to be an important part of our subjective consciousness. How we experience reality seems to be entirely molded by our perceptions, not any independent truth that we are perceiving. Where one person looks at the price of Bitcoin and laughs it off as a Ponzi scheme or a bubble about to pop, another person sees pure value. We should not underestimate the power that perception holds over objectivity. When enough people value a Bitcoin, it becomes valuable to everyone, and seems to acquire some inherent value, much like the convergence of evidence in science seems to provide theories with some inherent truth value. This is a beautiful example of subjectivity molding objectivity to its whims. And in the paradox perspective, it seems like perceptions can never be wrong.